Boom. Are we still on? Are we on? You have to sit up straight when you do these lives. Guys, it's a few minutes before the 19 hours news. And I really do listen to the news. Because, you know, if you don't watch ZNBC, it's very important to watch the 7 o'clock news. So I don't mind jumping on a few minutes before the main news, because that way I can just sort of push in my 2 cents worth. Guys, hop on here and gather around. Tell me in the comments if we are live and we are loud and clear. I see you. Do you really? Tell me you see me. Tell me, oh, goodness gracious alive. What's going on now? Oh, I need to. Oh, that's not going to work. I think my battery's flat. That might, there we go. I'll set it up here in a moment, guys. Just give me a moment. Hello, everybody. I bet you it does that thing where it does the thingamabob. Well, you know how it go. I may have to change the, oh, I knew it. All right, just give me a moment. I need to switch them because this one, the battery's flat on that one. So I have to fix this one here. Just give me a moment. Well, that's what happens when just give me a moment. Goodness gracious. Yeah, toi c'est now. Twatch to Sable X. We've savanned is what it is. All right, just give me a moment. Just give me a second. Yo. Boom. How's that? No, that's not sensitive. I'll fix all of this in post. Don't you worry about a thing. Hello. Testing 1 2. 1 2 testing. Guys, tell me in the comments, am I audible? Am I loud and clear? Go ahead and break that down for me. Let's get the show on the road. We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes we got. All right, guys. Yeah, it is a one-man show. You ain't lying. Tell you what, move that there, loud and clear. Boom. Guys, 2 things I want to talk to you about. Earlier today, I had a couple of meetings outside of the office. And when I came back to the office, laying on my desk was a document. And I've worked long enough to know what a document means and what it implies. So I sit on my desk. I sit at my desk. I open the envelope, and it's a demand letter from John General's lawyers, Kunda and something. And in that letter, they have demanded that I retract my calling John General a false prophet, a sexual predator, which for all intent and purposes, that's exactly what he is. He is a sexual predator, and he is a false prophet. Now, what I find interesting is the audacity, the unmitigated gall of this man that is currently on trial for allegedly raping a woman, one of the members of his church. Right now, he's on trial for that. And I find it sort of disingenuous that he would have the guts, knowing who I am, and by that I mean knowing that I am against them and their lifestyle. I stand for everything against what they stand for. Knowing my position, knowing that I look at them with disdain, knowing that I dislike them with every ounce of who I am, knowing that he still writes me a demand letter asking that I retract my statement when I called him a false prophet and a sexual predator. He knows good and hell well I'm not going to retract. And I will say it again, and I'm going to say it until this case of John General reaches its final conclusion. Now, the other thing that I find that is strange in Zambia, Zambians think that you can't discuss an active court case. You know, most Zambians, no, that's contempt when you discuss it. Guys, please, a little reading will help you. That's not contempt. How do we know about court cases when we read about them in the paper? If that's contempt, because to the average Zambian's mind, contempt means you can't mention the court case. It is an active case in the courts, so don't talk about it. That's not contempt. That is not contempt. When you discuss and say what is in the courtroom, the happenings and the goings on of what is being said and done in the courtroom, when you take what happens and what is said in the courtroom and you talk about it and you say it or you print it, that's not contempt. Contempt is when you disagree with the court. Contempt is when you say something other than what the court said. If I sat here and I reported to you something that didn't happen in court, something that the judge didn't say, something that the witnesses didn't say, that's contempt. But if I tell you what was said and I give you my opinion, that's not contempt. Come on, guys. We need a little bit of education. Zambians need to be taught this. You know, I find it strange. Most Zambians will read about a court case. They will read a synopsis about a court case in the paper. And then they'll turn around and say, no, you on social media can't talk about it because that's contempt. Well, how the hell did you know about the court case if you didn't read about it? Come on, guys. So my message to, and I've been through this before. I know the drill. When people write you a demand letter, when I was younger and I would receive a demand letter, it would just keep me up at night. Well, I learned much later that a demand letter doesn't mean diddly squat. A demand letter is like toilet paper. You know, nothing happens with a demand letter. It's just it's like a perverted love letter is what it is. They send you a letter and they say, look, do this, that, the other. If you don't, we're going to take this action. A demand letter doesn't mean diddly squat. He's just blowing hot air. So if John General is aggrieved that I've called him a false prophet and a purveyor and a sexual predator, if he's upset about those titles, well, get in line. That line stretches all the way around the corner. And we're not going to stop talking about this John General until this case reaches its final conclusion. And let me say it again, and this is one of the things he said in the letter. He says, don't say what you said when you said that you doubt that John General will get away with it. In this current climate, in this current climate where children are being abused left, right, and center, you think John General is going to get away with this? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. Now, I did make mention in the previous video that I posted, and I posted that video some months ago, maybe late last year or something. But let me reiterate. You know the word reiterate? To say again, let me reiterate. There's a video of John General wet kissing a little child, a little girl. She can't be any more than 6, 7 years old. Now, what I find interesting about that video, and it's very sickening to watch, I'm going to show you something that is very indicative of cult churches. Churches that are built upon the personality of of a man that they call a man of God, when he's anything but a man of God. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a purveyor. And you must understand that any time, for example, in this particular case, the video shows a little girl being introduced. You know, you've seen the video. It's not a secret. Everybody's seen it. It's been on the internet. All you got to do is just Google the thing. Boom, it pops up. But there's a video of a girl, a little girl, being introduced to John General. John General is sitting on his property in his compound, and it's an unfinished project that they're doing at his church. And he's sitting on a slab in front of an unfinished and incomplete building. And this little girl is ushered to John General. And John, the first thing he does, he pulls the little child close to him, and he proceeds to wet kiss the child on the mouth. Not just a little peck on the forehead, a little affectionate, peck on the top of the head. No, a full-on, full-blown, mouth-to-mouth wet kiss on the child's mouth. Now, what's interesting is the way the child responded. Tell me if you've seen that video. Tell me in the comments below if you've ever watched that video. I watched it, and I can tell you exactly what's going on there. I can tell you frame by frame what's going on there. Okay? So the issue is, he wet kisses the child, and the child flinches. The child pulls back and looks at John General almost as if to say, why did you do that? Now, an 8-year-old child has a moral compass sensitive enough to realize that that was inappropriate. But that's not the worst part of it. That is not the worst part of it. The worst part is not that John General kissed this child on the mouth, wet kissed the child, even closes his eyes. Can you believe it? You watch the video, it's sickening. He wet kisses the child, briefly closes his eyes, almost as if to enjoy the moment. The little girl flinches, looks away, and looks up at him as if to say, why would you do that? But the worst part was to watch the child's mother standing not too far, looking at her little girl being kissed on the mouth by John General, and the young mother, and she's a young mother, this is very indicative of cult churches. You see these young girls, 16, 17, 18 years old, that have children very early. You can see the look on the mother's face. She's full of pride, almost as if to say, the prophet has kissed my child. My child is blessed. My child has had the privilege of being kissed on the mouth by this prophet. And you can see it on her face. Sickening. Now, there is not one iota of a sense of wrong in that mother's mind. As far as the child's mother is concerned, John General did nothing wrong. In fact, if you were to walk up to the mother and pull her aside and say to the mother, what do you think of John General wet kissing your little 8-year-old child on the mouth, a passionate kiss, even closes his eyes? What do you think of that? I guarantee you, because she's a member of that church, to her, she sees nothing wrong. In fact, she would even say, I wager, she would even say, the prophet kissed my child. We're blessed. We're blessed. We're fortunate. What? Yes, we're blessed. We're fortunate. God's countenance has shined upon us, and the prophet saw it fit and right to kiss my child on the mouth. We're blessed. A deranged mind, brainwashed. Wanamayo, you young girls. That's why bala medium churches yenu imwe. Pastor adet fiyo na kupepela alefu afyo kukudia. Uyu Nigerian uyu ishire ku showgrounds uyu full wanamayo. And they love that. These false prophets, when they come to Zambia, these Nigerians, when they come here, you Zambians full banamayo kuma stadium mo. Very soon, this same man who's come to the stadium, when he goes back to Nigeria, he's going to say to his friends, Zambia is the place to be. Ba if kwa di fulama dwanzis ku Zambia banamayo diba. Now, I'm not saying I'm against the preaching of the word. I'm a Christian. I'm a Pentecostal Christian. I'm very proud of it. I love God. I love the message of the cross. I believe that. But I don't believe and subscribe to manipulation, which is what most of these guys do. Governments, listen to me. When I say governments, I don't just mean Zambia. Be careful who you allow into your country to speak to your people. Those are the same people that turn around. Months from now, they'll start saying on Facebook, I see war coming to Zambia. I see war coming to Zambia. So if you don't want the war to come to Zambia, send me a seed so that I pray, I stand in the gap for you. Well, the Word of God says there's only one mediator between man and God, and that is the man Christ Jesus. It doesn't say anything there about a Nigerian. It says nothing in there about a despot. It only points to Christ. The Apostle Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. If your pastor is not a follower of Christ, oh, you run from that man like you would run from a boa constrictor. That's what most of these jokers are. So here it is. John General thinks that he can scare me by saying, you better apologize for what you said. Well, we're not going to apologize. You're a despot. You are a deviant. You've probably raped half the girls in your church. And they can't say anything because that's how cults operate. The authorities can go to a cult church and interview the members of that cult. They'll come back with zero. They'll come back with zero because every woman in there will just say, no, he's never touched me. He's my prophet. He's never touched. Brainwashed. Brainwashed. Okay.